What up, Scare Squad? Welcome back to ScareTopics. I am OC. Today we got Surviving Rikers Island. Now, if you don't know what Rikers Island is a jail in New York City. It should be shut down. But let's get straight to this video.
This video contains discussions of abuse, suicide, and violence, which may be distressing for some viewers. Please take care while watching, and feel free to step away if you need to.
The nicknames that it has: the Bridge of Pain, Gladiator School, Torture Island. The name speaks for itself.
What are some words you'd use to describe Rikers Island?
Hell. I had to go in there
Exactly that.
and be the most violent so I can be able to survive.
In this video, we see him being escorted
And that's
to the
any
prison
jail.
shower. He appears to speak to the guard, who in seconds is seen slamming him into a wall and then to the ground.
Welcome to Rikers Island in New York City, a place where detainees await their trials. Although it's technically a jail, inmates often spend more than a few days here.
Years.
Some spend weeks, others years. And those who get out alive are considered lucky. From overpopulation, understaffing, gang violence, and fight clubs to rampant corruption and neglect, Rikers Island will change anyone who crosses its bridge of pain.
Right.
Why have so many inmates died behind bars at Rikers? What is the program, and why are so many guards giving?
Now, for one, I was in Rikers Island. I was there before. And one of the reasons why I was there when somebody died too, a few people. And one of the reasons why they died was because overdose. They overdosed or something, you know what I'm saying? And another one was because they locked him in his cell. They got this thing that they call deadlock, right? So they lock you in your cell. Like if they feel like you a problem, or they feel like you disrupting program, you can't be controlled, whatever. Even if they don't feel like that, even if you just get on their nerve, they'll just deadlock you, which is place you in your cell. They call the security team, the squad. They call the squad team. They come, they put you in your cell, and they lock you in the cell for however long. You know what I'm saying? Some people spend days, weeks, months in their cell. You know what I'm saying? And some don't get fed at all. Some staffs come and feed you, and some don't. Mostly the inmates feed you, but that's how a lot of people die in there. And that's how one of the person died in there when I was there. That's how one of them died.
Bridge of pain. Why have so many inmates died behind bars at Rikers? What is the program, and why are so many guards giving inmates special treatment?
Basically, it's this like power structure on Rikers Island that had people that fight for these positions to be good. To not worry about somebody taking their stuff, but not worry about somebody attacking them.
And will Rikers Island close for good in 2027? Think you have what it takes to survive in a hellhole like this? Let's find out.
You freeze. Oh shit.
After getting picked up and handed,
Let me also add that even though people are the people in there, the inmates, they scared of each other. You know what I'm saying? They worried about what each other is gonna do to each other, what they're gonna do to each other. You know what I'm saying? Or what somebody gonna do to them. They also fear that the COs, and what the COs do up there is, if you are like, say if you a real violent person, right? Like you one of the top dogs in the jail, they will use you. You know what I'm saying? They'll befriend you, use you, and pay you. You know what I'm saying? They'll reward you. So a lot of people fight for that position too, to become they pets, basically. You know what I'm saying? To become a CO's pet. So when a CO walk in, you good with him, he's gonna send you to, like, if you get in trouble, they put you in a different unit. You know what I'm saying? They put you in a different housing area, and that CO can make it better. So because most of them are gang members, they'll get placed in a opposite gang house. You know what I'm saying? by chance, not purposely. Sometimes it's purposely done because they don't like you, which they're not supposed to do. But if that CO wants to, he can make sure that you don't end up in a situation like that. That's why they befriend the COs, because the COs can do things for them, you know what I'm saying, that an inmate can't. And that's crazy. They use that against the inmates so that the inmates can play against each other, which is crazy.
You freeze. Oh, shit.
After getting picked up and handcuffed, you're brought onto a bus with other detainees. You cross the bridge of pain, and you're escorted to your new home for the foreseeable future.
You walk in, and the first thing that hits you is the smell. It's a very odd smell of like, I didn't know
everything.
It
smelled like everything disgusting.
That's just blood and just chemicals that they clean the blood with.
First, you wait to be processed and are held in the intake units, which can sometimes be crammed with dozens of detainees.
Smell like urine and
although you're
death.
only supposed to be there for 24 hours at most, you may spend days inside a crammed holding cell with a bed made of cardboard and an overflowing toilet. Consider yourself lucky, because in 2021, detainees had to use plastic bags for toilets while waiting to be sent to their cells.
Feces all over the wall, unoperable restrooms, toilets would not flush, the sinks would not work.
Can't even use the sink.
It was disgusting.
Your cell isn't much better. It has an iron toilet, a rock-hard bed, and no heat.
Meet David. David's an e-commerce manager. David does everything with AI.
Which means freezing temperatures during the winter. But you'd better get cozy, because there's no guarantee you'll even get an hour of recreation time outside of your new home.
We spoke with Bryce Peterson. He's a CNA research scientist who leads major projects to help improve policing and correctional systems, focusing on safety, technology, and support for families affected by incarceration. We got his take on the systemic issues jails like Rikers Island are facing.
Rikers is a unique jail in so many ways. It more resembles a prison system than a jail system.
Right.
It's run by a city, which is one of the few jail systems operated at a city level, not a county level, has its own Department of Corrections that operates it. It's just a geographically challenging, dilapidated buildings. There's a lot of challenges.
It's a money scheme.
You can't do nothing. It's the same shit all day, every day, day in, day out. Rikers Island, you stuck in the house all day, bro.
But fights, stabbings, or staff shortages can cancel your fun time without warning.
Yep.
NBC News recently obtained more than 100 hours of surveillance video from inside Rikers. Scenes like this, an attempted knifing averted by an officer, and an inmate-organized so-called fight night, where some detainees were forced to participate.
Lunchtime is mandatory. You're either lining up at a mess hall or you're eating off a plastic tray handed to you through a slot in your cell. The food isn't much, mainly frozen processed foods like pizza pockets and burritos. Chicken Day is by far the most popular and territorial. You better build some strong allies to avoid getting jumped for your drumstick here.
Bro, you don't understand. Oh my God. When it's Thursdays and Sundays, they going crazy. They going crazy. See, I've been there, right? Because I've been there for a year. Yes, y'all, I've been there for a year. No, I'm not a criminal. Some things just happened, you know what I'm saying? People just came to my house. I had to defend myself. And I ended up getting arrested because I caused more harm to them than they did to me. You know what I'm saying? So it's not no, oh, he's a crash out. He just, no, I'm not out here bugging. But yeah, while I was there, this is crazy. Chicken Day was crazy. Crazy. I'm talking about people will sell their phone calls for pins. I mean, for chickens. You know what I mean? Like they're selling their food. They're selling their food for, well, it don't sound stupid. It's kind of like trading, but they'll sell their clothes. They'll sell anything they have. Selling your phone call is crazy because the thing about your phone call is it comes with a pin, right? Now, in order for them to use your phone call, they have to get this pin. Now, if you sell them your phone call, you have to give them that pin. Bro, chicken day was crazy. People get beat up all day, every day, just for a chicken that it's not. It don't even taste good. It don't taste good. But when you're there, shit, that's everything.
And the guards are not a fan of the milk cartons.
And as the officers serve lunch, through a cell opening, a milk carton. The carton becomes a projectile, a giant spray of urine and feces.
Yeah, they do that. They do that.
At me, I'm supposed to feed them, you know, but
I did that to a guard before.
And do a job.
Even though Rikers Island has kept some of the most dangerous criminals out of our homes, you can never be too careful. In moments of civil unrest like this, your personal safety is paramount. You might be surprised how easy it is to have your home broken into. That's why I recommend using this incredible home security tool from today's video sponsor,
I was just saying that, right?
Dorcade. Dorcade is the only battery RAM resistant. Showers, the non-milk carton kind, are available every day in theory. But in practice, you may have to wait.
Oh.
Guards can cut showers as punishment for those who miss
showers?
The caged versions have even been used as temporary holding cells in the past. Violence is always close by. You hear about slashings with homemade blades, see the aftermath of beatdowns in the hall, or watch officers rushing to pull men apart. The official rules are supposed to keep you safe, but the reality is different. At any moment, a fight can break out and cost you your life.
Right.
If you want to survive here, keep your head down, avoid eye contact, and figure out quickly which crews run your unit.
I started slowly learning that if I want to live and survive here, then I really got to lose a piece of myself that I try to hold on, right? The human side of myself.
Facts.
It's a fine line to walk. You don't want to be known for fighting, but you can't let other inmates see you as a target.
And if I wasn't like brought up in the hood and didn't know how to fight and stuff like that, shit, it would be hell for me. It would have been hell for me. You know who made it hell for me? The COs. The COs. But it will be hell for you if you're not like somebody who's like really, you don't even got to be the best fighter. Just somebody who's not afraid to fight, bro. If you're afraid to fight, bro, or even afraid to get stabbed or anything, you gonna be petrified. You gonna go home with some trauma. I'm telling you.
At the same time,
you better be ready.
You don't want to gain a reputation for being problematic for the guards. Keeping a low profile, being respectful, and even bribing them can go a long way.
A few days later, I let the Colombian guy know that I had another officer that was willing to do the same job that I was doing. So after a few runs and introducing the other officer, I start bringing in contraband more frequently.
You'll also want to keep an eye out for gangs. In 2022, a report led by a former detainee highlighted how a leader of the Dominican gang, Trinitarios, virtually ran an entire...
I got one challenge for you. Try to whisper flow once. One time. And I promise you'll understand why I have...
Cell block. In addition to having designer shoes, bins of food, and clothes in his cell, the leader, referred to as Bacalao, made it clear he was in charge, not the staff.
Who was running the place?
The inmates run the facilities.
An inmate named Relator G explained how he was jumped after being placed in his housing unit. The attack only stopped when Bacalao told the individual...
Let me tell y'all something, bro. It's exactly that. For one, these inmates get whatever they want. Like, and what they do sometimes is, when your packages come through, they'll take your packages and give to the inmate that they favor. You know what I'm saying? And they'll tell you your package is lost. They do stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And the Trinitarios is not the only... They're also known as the Tribus, the Patias. You know what I'm saying? DPL. They are not the only gangs that's running shit up there. They got their own cell block, you know what I'm saying? But they got their own cell, unit and stuff. But also the Crips do. Also the Bloods do. Also the what do you call them? The Latin Kings. And it's you if you know about gangs, you know that there's different sets. You know what I'm saying? It's different sets. So it's a lot of that. It's a lot of that. Mostly every cell block is ran by a different gang. It's not one, unless you go into like a mental observation, you know what I'm saying, or PC or something. And they still got gang members in PC, but mostly every cell block is ran by a gang member. You know what I'm saying? And you most likely gonna run into a gang member on your walk-in, on intake. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they're all over. Expect that.
G explained how he was jumped after being placed in his housing unit. The attack only stopped when Bacalao told the individuals involved to stop. The gang leader then explained the rules of the cell block, referred to it as his house, which included attacking new people as they arrived. Huh, what a cheery welcome. Other gangs at Rikers have taken things even further. In February 2025, a member of the Bloods made headlines for his vicious attacks on staff. Over 2 years, Sundance Oliver was responsible for attacking 45 correctional officers and 3 civilians. At the time, a law implemented in 2024, limiting an inmate's time in solitary to just a few hours per day, made it hard to keep guys like Oliver locked down. However, those laws have since been overturned, to the officer's relief.
Whoever thought getting rid
they
of
still
solitary
don't
confinement was a good idea, you need to pack your stuff up and you need to go.
If you've managed to make it through
solitary
the day,
confinement
well
still
done.
it's still
At night, when the
let me tell you something. Solitary confinement still exists on Rikers Island. It still exists till this day today. So no, I don't care what that law says. You do something in Rikers Island right now, like you catch a slashing, you cut an officer or inmate, or hit a officer, you know what I'm saying, or even hit an inmate too hard and break something, you go into the box. The box is solitary confinement. That's what that is. You basically in there all day, 23 hours lockdown. You know what I'm saying? You come out for you're supposed to come out for like 4 hours a day, but they take you out for like an hour a day. You know what I'm saying? The only time you go out, you probably go outside for 2 hours. And that's when you go out to the yard. And when you go out to the yard, you're in a box. They take you out in a shackle. Your whole body is shackled. Everything. You know what I'm saying? You're in a jumpsuit, basically. And your hands is like this. Your hands is like this. You know what I'm saying? And you walk. They take you to a damn bird cage. That's what I call it. They take you to a bird cage. It's basically divided cages in the yard, right? And you go there and they place you in one of those cages, and then you go in there and they take the shackles off and stuff like that. But you're in those cages. It's nowhere to, the cage is like half the size of my room. You know what I'm saying? The cage is like 2 elevators. Elevators are different sizes. But you know what I'm saying? It's not too big. It's not. And you gotta stay there for 2 hours. There's nowhere to go. You just stay right there. That's solitary confinement. You know what I'm saying? It still exists. They call it the box.
Happens, the noise doesn't stop. Men shout, bang on doors, or scream threats. Here, sleep is a rare luxury.
My first night in jail, when that door closed, I probably cried hysterically.
Try to get as much shut-eye as you can. Trust me, you'll need it. But it might be easier said than done, considering Rikers' dark and haunted past. Before becoming America's most notorious jail complex,
let's hear about
Rikers
this.
Island was farmland owned by the wealthy Dutch Riken family. The city originally bought it in 1884 to be used as a dump. Fitting. After relying on forced labor by inmates from other NYC jails to build it, Rikers Island opened in 1932. Within its first decade, watchdogs had branded it inhumane. From the 1950s through the 70s, Rikers exploded in size and violence. Overcrowding, hunger strikes, and riots became routine.
not an animal, you know? The way they make you feel like you're an animal, the way they throw your things around, you know?
It was even immortalized in Marvel Comics as a prison for supervillains. By the 80s and 90s, the chaos only escalated. Suicides among youth soared.
Because it was my birthday in June, and I had nobody to be with. I took this here, my wrist.
So you tried to commit suicide?
Exactly, and I've been shot too.
Gangs ruled cell blocks, and guards themselves rioted in protest. At its peak, more than 20,000 people were crammed inside, making it the largest jail in the US.
Unless you've been inside of a prison or jail, it's really hard to talk about the scope of overcrowding. I mean, like we talk about crowded situations, like if you go to a mall or something like that. Inside of a prison, you're talking about sometimes 8 people inside of a 4x8 cell, right? So you have multiple bunks in a room where you can touch the walls on both sides. So it's just a very different situation than what you're used to. And that's their living quarters that they're often confined in for hours and hours every single day.
Days.
And then when they're out of their cells, they're also in situations where you're shoulder to shoulder with people while you're trying to exercise. You're directly next to people on either side of you while you're trying to have a phone call with a loved one, a family member, things like that. They're on top of each other in some of the most difficult living situations any of us could imagine.
By the 2000s, Rikers was in the spotlight regularly for all the wrong reasons.
At that time in 2007, there was so many youth. I had to go in there and be the most violent so I can be able to survive.
And it wasn't only violent inmates causing problems. Jail staff
COs.
and correctional officers were being exposed for their criminal ways too. From stolen artwork and smuggled drugs to officers forcing themselves onto incarcerated women, the staff had a lot of issues. Officers were accused of turning a blind eye to fight clubs and even encouraging inmates to attack each other. Investigations revealed the use of excessive force, a lot of it.
One of the more established findings is really crowded facilities are more prone to violence, right? Not surprisingly, we have people on top of each other. They create these conditions where there's lots of tension, strain, you have staff involved. It just creates, it's a breeding system for violence, both against staff and against each other. If it's way too crowded, it's really hard for staff to manage that population effectively, which means people get away with more things, right? Staff aren't going to do as good of a job of searching them when they need to. They're not going to do as good a job searching cells, screening stuff that's coming in, monitoring their phone calls, monitoring visitation. Staff get away with more things because, again, there's less oversight. When there's fewer staff per inmates in the facility, we call staff to inmate ratio. When that's lower, there's less oversight for staff too. So if staff want to get away with things like staff bringing in contraband, those kinds of things. So it leads to a whole host of issues.
With a lack of training, medical support, and inhumane living conditions, Rikers Island continues to be a problem for both inmates and jail staff. Sadly, many inmates with pre-existing mental health conditions have not been given the care they deserve. They have been victims of abuse and sad reminders of a corrupt system that has historically targeted minorities and ignored basic human rights.
Yeah, for the mental health observation, basically they put you in a mental health observation unit. That's what it's called. But it's damn near the same as population, general population. You know what I mean? It's like you in there with people that's too scared to go to population, so they just throw them in there. And you're also in there with other mental health people, you know what I'm saying? And this observation unit is run by a correctional officer. You know what I'm saying? It's not ran by a mental observation specialist or something. It's ran by a correctional officer. You know what I'm saying? And what that correctional officer do is, if they don't take a liking to you, you know what I'm saying? If they don't take a liking to you, or they feel like, you know, whatever, they just don't like you or something, they can throw you back to general population. Just clear you out of mental. They basically saying you're not mentally ill or nothing. Nothing is wrong with you. You can go back to general population. Even if you are even if you are a fully mentally challenged somebody, they'll still do that to you. You know what I'm saying? So it's no help for the mental observation people out there. It's no help on Rikers Island for them. You know what I'm saying? People with mental illness don't get help on Rikers Island at all.
When you have, again, such a large prison population, it's a drain on your resources, and then people aren't getting the services they need. So then it's just like.
And also the same thing happened in the mental observation unit that happens in general population. The COs, they bring in drugs. The COs bring in drugs, and they also they bring in drugs, and they also, it's also stabbings. You know what I'm saying? The inmates, they have weapons on them too. You know what I'm saying? So it's nothing like a hospital or what a hospital should be, or even a mental health observation unit. You know what I'm saying? Somewhere where, you know, these people need help, so you don't want to put them in an environment. They still sleeping on the metal beds. The doors is still cells. It's still a cell that they're in. They're not in like a room or something. They're in a cell. It's just they're still in jail. You know what I'm saying? It's not no help.
Perpetuating cycle where people don't get the services they need, they're released, they're inadequately prepared for release, they return to prison, and it keeps going and going.
In this video, we see him being escorted to the prison shower. He appears to speak to the guard,
and he got
who
the
in
cuffs
seconds
on.
is seen slamming him into a wall.
And that happened to me before.
In 2010, Khalif Browder was just 16 years old when he was arrested for stealing a backpack. He couldn't afford bail, so he was placed on Rikers Island, awaiting trial. While maintaining his innocence throughout his time there, Browder was offered plea deals, which he refused.
The judge told me that if I plead guilty, I would release from jail that same day. But I didn't do it. You're not gonna make me say I did something just so I could go home.
In 2013, Browder was released with all the charges dropped, but the damage was irreversible. He had spent over 1,100 days in jail,
Damn.
the majority in solitary
Backpack?
confinement, and claimed both guards and inmates regularly beat him.
The risks of solitary confinement for individuals range from a number of psychological issues, right, like increased issues with mental health, depression, anxiety, suicide risks, suicide ideation. There's some physical issues associated with it as well, because oftentimes you don't get access to exercise, and so you can have sleep deprivation, atrophy, other things like that. You can have social issues, like you're not interacting with people on a daily basis, so it can, especially for adolescents, can interrupt their kind of social development.
What did Rikers do to your son?
It destroyed him. It destroyed him mentally.
In 2015, at 22 years old, Browder took his own life.
Damn.
Calls for Rikers to close down were reignited.
Shut it down!
Lawsuits were created and policies were changed. But the ultimate goal was to close Rikers once and for all. Unfortunately, it remained open, and the mistreatment of inmates continued.
A transgender woman's death on Rikers Island is leading to calls for an investigation and a rally today in her name.
In April 2019,
his
27-year-old Layleen Extravaganza Polanco was arrested on an assault charge for allegedly biting a cab driver. She was taken to Rikers Island and was meant to be released a few days later, but remained in jail due to prior drug and prostitution charges from 2017. She couldn't afford her $500 bail. While being processed, Polanco told authorities about her epilepsy and history of seizures. On May 15th, she was taken to a psychiatric ward after what was described as radical changes in behavior, such as hallucinations, shouting, and suicidal thoughts. Despite her psychiatrist's recommendation, just 9 days later, Layleen was placed in solitary confinement for 20 days. On day 9 of 20, she was found dead in her cell due to a seizure that went unchecked.
Told you.
Even though regulations require officers to check on inmates in solitary confinement every 15 minutes, there was a 47-minute gap between checks on Polanco.
They don't do that.
At 2:46 in the afternoon.
Let me tell you what they do. What they're supposed to do is they're supposed to walk around every hour. You see how it is? You see how it looks on that little TV right here? On this little TV right here? So basically around this whole thing is doors, right? It's around the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? That's the lobby of the jail. That's basically your living room area. So they supposed to, sometimes it's 2 floors and sometimes it's 1. Mostly it's 2 floors. The COs is supposed to walk around every hour and knock on, if you're in your cell, they knock on your cell. If you're out your cell, then you're out your cell, you know what I'm saying? But mostly you're supposed to be in your cell, you know what I'm saying? On shift change, you're supposed to be in your cell. But what they supposed to come around every hour knock on the door, your cell, and check to see if you're okay. Bro, they don't do none of that, bro. They walk around. Don't get me wrong. They walk around, but what they do is they walk around and just bang on your cell. Boom! They don't even look to see if you good or if you all right or if you okay. Some of them do, but majority of them, they don't do it. They just walk by, kick your door, ping, ping, bang your door, just make mad noise, just annoy the shit out of you. You know what I'm saying? They don't even make sure you okay, and they just keep it pushing. And if something is wrong with you and you do try to stop them, you know what I'm saying, and be like, hey, I need to talk to you, they don't stop. They don't stop. They walk and they be like, I'm gonna come check on you later. They tell you some bullshit. They try to give you a runaround. You know what I'm saying? They don't give a shit about nobody in there.
When officers finally did check on her, she was unresponsive. Video footage
that could have
shows
happened to
one
me.
of the officers laughed.
That could have happened to me. When I went there, when I was on Rikers Island, let me tell y'all a story real quick. When I was on Rikers Island, the COs didn't feed me. You know what I'm saying? The COs didn't feed me for like a whole day. And the next day I woke up, I was mad hungry. Because I didn't eat the whole day because they was moving me around. You know what I'm saying? They kept switching my house. You know what I'm saying? So, cause I kept getting into fights and stuff. So, boom. This CO, he never fed me. They never fed me. Like, they kept me on deadlock when so I went in the cell area, because I went from dorm to cell. You feel me? Because they do have dorms, but the dorms is more wicked. The dorms is like, it's not even cells. The cells is more like you got your own room. The dorms, it's just a bed next to a bed next to another bed, like 50 beds next to each other. It's no doors. You wake up, you roll over, that's somebody right there next to you, and somebody next to him, and somebody next to him, and so on and so on. That's the dorms. So I got into fights. I was getting into fights in the dorm. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I got to the cell. They put me to the cells. So while I'm in the cells, they deadlock me. So that's what they do to you when you first come to the cell, because they don't know if you gang banging. They don't know what's going on. They don't know if you know what I'm saying? That's what they claim. They don't know if you have problems with somebody in the unit. You know what I'm saying? So they'll deadlock you. That's what they claim. So they threw me in the cell for like the whole day, and I never ate. So the next day I woke up, you know what I'm saying? I was banging on my door. I'm like, hey, I need to eat. Where's my breakfast? Like, nobody woke me up. Like, my cell is all the way in the back, and nobody's waking me up or nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm not hearing no announcements that it's breakfast. My cell is not being buzzed. What's going on? Like, they ignored the shit out of me, bro. They ignored the shit out of me. So I got out, you know what I'm saying? I got into a scuffle. When they finally it took me 2 weeks. I didn't eat for 2 weeks. I didn't get fed, none of that, for 2 weeks. My stomach was twisting, you heard? And the inmates was the one that was giving me food. Like, they was putting food under my, like, cereal stuffed in a bag under my cell. You know what I'm saying? Milk stuffed in a bag under my cell and stuff. So I didn't get fed for about 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? And when they finally let me out, yeah, I got it on with one of the COs. I'm not gonna lie to you, I got it on with him. I just went up to him, snuffed him. Boop, boop. You got it on, because why you ain't report this shit? Why you ain't lock me out? Why you laughed at me? Why was you joking about me not eating? You thought me dying was funny? All right. So I snuffed him. You know what I'm saying? Got it on. And that was it. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't charge me with anything because they didn't feed me for 8 days. So it was just that. Win for win. But the fact that could have been me. I could have been in the cell hungry for a month, dead. You know what I'm saying? That could have been me.
A 47-minute gap between checks on Polanco. At 2:46 in the afternoon, when officers finally did check on her, she was unresponsive. Video footage shows one of the officers laughing while another calls out to her. After failed attempts to revive her, a bodyboard was brought in at 2:56 p.m. The city of New York eventually paid $5.9 million to her family in a wrongful death lawsuit, but no amount of money can make up for the neglect Polanco faced. Between January 1st and November 30th, 2013, there were 129 cases in which inmates needed medical attention so extensive that the jail's doctors couldn't provide adequate treatment. All of those cases involved correctional officers, and 77% of the cases involved inmates who were deemed mentally ill.
We know that in general, the correctional population, especially in the United States, but this is true across the world as well, correctional populations have disproportionately high levels of people with mental health issues and other kinds of health issues.
Fractured bones, wounds requiring stitches, it was clear that the officers were using excessive force. The majority of inmates claimed to have been beaten by officers after being handcuffed, leaving them defenseless. These assaults also resulted in 5 inmates attempting to take their own lives. One example is Jose Batista, who was arrested following a family dispute. After not being able to post a $250 bail, he was sent to Rikers, where he tried to hang himself. 4 officers cut him down and then beat him senseless.
Investigators from 4 city agencies concluded that one of the officers...
How are you supposed to be trying to save this man if you're going to beat him senseless? Like, you get what it don't even make sense, the things they do in there.
Mr. Batista so severely, he suffered a perforated bowel and needed emergency surgery to save his life.
In a place as unstable as Rikers Island, where the mental illnesses being dealt with include bipolar disorder, depression, and schizophrenia, inmates have a hard time coping. Some turn inwards. Others are more aggressive, splashing officers with urine or physically assaulting them.
I didn't sign up to be a punching bag. I didn't sign up to be a crash test dummy.
That's what I did.
Back to that housing area
exactly
that
what I
inmate
did.
assaulted you in, and you're looking.
You're
at
not gonna not feed
eye
me.
to eye, and he's looking at you going, "I'll do it again."
And they laugh at you,
because
bro.
of the lack of proper structures in place. We don't have adequate staffing. We don't have adequate surveillance systems. We don't have adequate whatever it is, like dilapidated buildings. In truth, violence happens because of all of those things, right? It's a combination of all of that. It's not one thing that explains why violence happens. It's a lack of oversight and not proper structures. It's probably a concentration of more violent people, maybe more gang members in the community, or people who are more likely to commit violence without adequate controls in place for dealing with those individuals. So maybe you don't have good classes.
It's none of that. Well, it's some of that, but it's not the gangs. The gangs is always gonna go to war. Where else are the gang members are gonna go? Cause look, they commit a crime. Where do you think they go? Jail. Jail. So where else are they gonna go? You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely not the gangs. And it is the way that the COs run the place. It's how they do it. You know what I'm saying? They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. And in Rikers, in the inmates' eyes, it's the toughest survive. You know what I'm saying? And it's like that because of the COs. It's like that because of the COs. It's not like that because of the inmates. The inmates only do that because if they don't act like that, the COs they're gonna beat the shit out of them. You know, they're gonna think they soft, they're gonna think they push over. And let me tell you something, a lot of these people that get beat on, they're just regular people. They're not gang members. The gang members don't get beat on. If they get beat on, you know what's gonna happen? Exactly like what happened with the guy who tried to stab 48, the blood dude that we saw in the beginning, who tried to stab 48 correctional officer. That's what's gonna happen if they mess with the gang members. So they don't do that. Some gang members do get beat on though by the COs, you know what I'm saying? But some of them hold it down and they just get their get back, you know what I'm saying? But the COs, they don't want that. They don't want to fight you. They don't want to do that. They don't want to, come around the corner and see you and you hit them. Boom. Oh yeah, I got you back. They don't want that. So they do that to the civilians. So usually the civilians get hurt. And in order for the civilians, I'm not gonna call them civilians because they in, they in jail. But the calmer inmates, the neutral inmates, they're the ones that feel that effect. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't have no protection. They don't have no protection. And most of them not fighters. They're not fighters. You know what I'm saying? And they feel like they have to. Most of them feel like they have to be this. They have to be tough. You know what I'm saying? In order to survive. Because if they're tough, the gang members might want to recruit them. You know what I'm saying? And even if the gang members don't recruit them, the gang members might befriend them because they're tough. So, you know, you can rock with us if you tough. It's not a segregated jail, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's not segregated in here. It's not like prison where you have whites and blacks in this corner and, you know, all this Aryanation. It's not like prison. It's a little bit like, it's a lot like prison, but a lot not like prison, if you get what I'm saying. It's a lot of similarities, but there's a lot of differences. You know what I'm saying? So that's why the neutral inmates, they suicide, they kill themselves and stuff like that because it impacts them the most. They don't have no protection. In order for them to get protection is they have to get recruited by a gang member. You know what I'm saying? Or they have to be as tough as nails.
Systems like knowing where to place certain individuals to keep them away from each other when there's violent clashes. You might have staff who are overzealous or don't have proper controls in place to stop them from engaging in uses of force and abuse and other things. It's typically a combination of all of those things. It's the prison environment, it's the people that are in there, and then it's a lack of proper controls in place.
Got 22 stitches in my face. Okay, this could have easily been a funeral arrangement today.
But it's important to remember that Rikers Island is supposed to be a place where people are held on a temporary basis.
85% of people who are on Rikers Island are just awaiting trial. Majority of people there are still waiting to be sentenced or maybe even get released.
Sadly, some don't live to see that day. In February 2014, Jerome Murdo, a former Marine who suffered from bipolar disorder and schizophrenia, was found dead in his cell, surrounded by a pool of blood and vomit. With an internal body temperature of 103 degrees, it was determined he was baked to death, as one article put it. His death was ruled accidental, as the guard who was responsible for checking on him had left her post. But given Rikers' history, a lot of people questioned if this was simply neglect. There was another incident involving an inmate with schizophrenia who swallowed toxic detergent. Despite cries for medical attention for hours, he was ignored and died. One officer was charged with human rights violations. In 2019, violence between inmates had increased 15% in just 1 year. Assaults on staff members significantly worsened too.
It was dangerous for everyone.
And also, the reason why it don't get better is because when the CO is caught smuggling things in the, you know what I'm saying, or abusing somebody or even sexually misconduct, they don't get fired. Sexually conduct, they might get fired, but abusing and use of force and stuff, smuggling and stuff like that, they don't get fired. They get relieved pay. They get paid relief. You know what I'm saying? They don't get punishments. They don't get fired or nothing. They just get paid relief, and they come back to work in like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? And nothing happened. They still the same person. They just made a little bit more money and got an extra vacation. That's why it doesn't change.
In there for the medical staff, for the correctional officers, and for the people who are incarcerated there.
And to no surprise, officers' use of force shot up as well. Almost 30% more, making it an all-time high for the jail.
See what I'm saying?
Much of this use of force was against adolescent detainees, with 571 cases recorded in 2019. And when the officers weren't abusing the younger inmates, they found other ways to keep them in check.
I started learning about the program. We always knew what correctional officers were the one that was upkeeping the program.
Yep.
They could say, well, we couldn't put our hands on the youth, so we needed to figure out how to keep them under control.
Despite claims by the New York City Department of Correction that the idea of the program was fabricated, it became clear that officers were giving some inmates leniency to keep other juveniles in check. Some even got rewarded.
He'll get more calls to call his family, right? Because they'll take calls from people. If you're not,
they'll give you people's PIN number.
Power rank, that means you're not having cereal. or you're not even having a muffin. Their commissaries get taken away, their sneakers get taken away.
Of course, not all staff are involved in this.
Mattress.
While some use excessive force and others try to get inmates to do their dirty work, the jail also had another problem with its policies being abused.
Once we started ramping up the investigations into the sick leave abuse, they just stopped calling completely and they started going AWOL. So there were patterns of sick leave abuse and just not showing up to work.
Correction officers are given unlimited sick leave as part of a union.
See what I'm saying?
Those caught abusing this privilege faced little consequence. And in 2021, it was reported that around a third of correctional officers at Rikers went on sick leave. In 2019, there was an average of 645 absences without leave per month. In 2021, that number jumped more than 200% to over 2,300 per month. This led to the jail being understaffed, putting both inmates and staff at risk.
We as a society should be thinking more about what we can do in prisons. Again, for everybody in there, right? It's like prison conditions suck. People don't want to work there, right? If we can improve conditions, I think we'll get more people who want to work inside prisons and jails, and getting a bigger applicant pool is only a positive.
And the inmates would have a better outcome. Inmates won't be going to jail and not, having the time to reflect on the dumb shit they did, you know what I'm saying? And be motivated to change. They can't give themselves that self-motivation to change if this don't change. Because if they go there and the first thing that come to their mind is survival, they're gonna be stuck in survival. And then when they come home, they're still gonna be in survival. So nothing's gonna change. So if they don't change the way they punish these COs, or they follow the policy, if they don't change that, then it's basically a scam. Kids, youths, adults, anybody that go here, they're gonna go there and leave out of here worse, and then have to go back. So it's like they're gonna be stuck in a loop, in a cycle. You know what I'm saying? And that cycle is the scam, basically. That's what's making them money. It's gonna keep us going back. You know what I'm saying? When they know they could stop it, but they don't care because that's what they want.
Right? Like, I think you can get better applicants, more committed applicants. If they're enjoying their job more, they have job satisfaction. Research shows that they'll have better interactions with incarcerated people. Having incarcerated people with staff who are better is better for them. Like, it's a mutually beneficial thing.
Violence increased, and naturally, so did the jail's death toll. In total, 15 inmates died either by suicide, overdose, or from COVID-19. It's also important to note that all were men of color. And as shocking as that statistic is, what's even more startling is that 90% of inmates at Rikers are black or brown, highlighting an issue within the justice system beyond the walls of Rikers. The death toll in 2022 was even higher at 19 inmates. Again, a handful of confirmed or suspected suicides. Regardless of whether it was due to a mental health disorder or the abuse inmates faced at the hands of officers, this became a clear pattern, and the pressure to close Rikers for good was mounting.
The New York City Council has just approved the controversial plan to close Rikers. 4 new, smaller jails will now be built in the boroughs. It is a move that has sparked a lot of protest.
As of 2025, their plans to build the 4 smaller jails were behind schedule. 2 are now expected to be completed in 2031 and another in 2032. To add insult to injury, the 4 planned facilities are expected to collectively hold just over 4,000 beds, which is a problem given that Rikers Island, as of 2025, has just over 7,000 inmates. In the meantime, U.S. District Judge Laura Taylor Swain ruled in May 2025 that she would take control of Rikers and appoint an independent official to run the operations. From hiring staff to revising the jail's rules and disciplining employees, the hope is that real change will occur within.
That never
Despite
happened.
a law requiring Rikers to close its gates officially in 2027, Jacques Chiha, New York City's budget director, went on record saying that it will not happen. Some believe it will. I guess that's to be determined.
What they did was they handed Rikers Island over to the feds. So Rikers Island is now being controlled by the feds. The feds run Rikers Island, basically. Well, that's what I was told. You know what I'm saying? When I was up there, that's what the talk was with the COs and stuff. They was all angry about it, you know what I'm saying? So I believe that's what it was. And that was recently. That was like 2025, you know what I'm saying? So
ultimately, Rikers Island isn't about reform, but rather figuring out how to stay alive in a system that was built to destroy you.
The Black Lives Matter and some other movements that happened in the mid-2010s, I think, made people more generally aware of like criminal justice issues. And when we talk about like uses of force and like, you know, these high-profile incidents that happen with police officers, and then we see it day in and day out in correctional facilities, and it's barely a blip on the media's radar, right? Like, I think it's something important that we should all be aware of, understanding the issues that are happening there. And I think collectively, if we give it the same kind of attention that we did to other parts of the justice system, we could see some positive change that makes everyone's lives better.
If Rikers is survival of the fittest, ADX Florence is survival of the mind. 23 hours
That's
a day
a real
in solitary, no human contact. It's home to the worst of the worst, like
that's a real prison. Yeah, man. So I'm do me a favor, y'all. Please hit that subscribe and notification, please. Cause I'm trying to get into this YPP program before YouTube do they bullshit, you know, cause I'm pretty sure everybody heard already. YouTube is on some bullshit. They trying to, you know, up the view counts, the watch time, everything. They trying to change the policy around, and it's not for the good. It's not for greater good for the creators. You know what I'm saying? And especially for somebody like me who's a new creator who's trying to, you know, make my way into the YPP program. It's not looking like it's gonna happen. But I am, you know, I like doing this, you know. I like doing this, and I actually want to make my own documentaries. You know what I'm saying? So to help me do so, all you need to do is subscribe. Just subscribe, hit that notification. You don't even gotta like. Just subscribe, you know what I'm saying? And if you like this video, if you enjoyed this video, drop a like and subscribe. If you're new to my channel, drop a like, subscribe. If you're not new, drop a like and subscribe. But look, I'm gonna catch you on the next one. Everybody be safe, you know. Think positive, you do positive things, and I'm out of here.